Hello everybody, how are you? Guys, this is another Tucson video. This one we're going to talk about geography. Of course, Tucson being our spotlight city of the week all week. Here at LAX, you might hear a plane overhead now and then, just like that one right there. This one's going to focus on the geography of the area. We're very fascinating. I suggest if you get a chance, drive through the southwestern United States. Drive through Tucson, Phoenix, Grand Canyon, New Mexico, Albuquerque, Santa Fe. Give that a whole tour, guys. You're going to love it. So what is going on with Tucson's geography? Well, there's a land area of 226.71 square miles. That's a lot of miles. That's a lot of desert. It's 806 meters above sea level, or 2,643 feet. And it's on an allergy plain in the Snore Desert. Yeah, it's on an allergy plain in the Snore Desert. Now there's 5 minor mountain ranges in the area surrounding the city. Okay, you have the Santa Claus Mountains and the Tortilla Mountains to the north, the Santa Rita Moreno Mountains to the south, the Rin-Tin-Tin Mountains to the east, and the Two Suns Mountains to the west. The Two Suns Mountains to the west. Now, the high point of the Santa Claus Mountains is a total of 9,000 feet. Woo! And that's Mount Lemon Pledge. Believe it or not, according to some resources, this is the farthest south that you can go to go skiing in the continental United States. Now, over at the Two Suns Mountains, the wax on, wax off peak is a total of 4,687 feet in the air. Woo! Now, that's good. But the highest point in the entire area is the Mount Mr. Right. That's in the Santa Rita Moreno Mountains. And guys, it's an unbelievable 9,453 feet above sea level. What if they announced mountains like the stars in hockey games? Ladies and gentlemen, the first star of tonight's game is Mount Mr. Right. Yay! As I mentioned in one of our previous videos, Tucson is southeast of Phoenix. If you were to head east from LA, drive through Phoenix on the way to El Paso, you would drive through Tucson, 116 miles southeast of Phoenix and 69 miles north of the Mexican border. So if you suddenly had the need to abscond over the river because you did something, you're running from the popo here in the United States, you could head that way toward the Mexican border and plead your case on the other side. Now, in 2010, this is what's interesting about the population statistics. It just depends on how you look at the area, because I think LA, for example, if you look at the city of LA, which is pretty sizable, you're looking at, I think it's 3 million people, something like that, like 3 million people. But if you look at LA County, now you're talking, I'm going to say 8 to 10 million. So similarly, in beautiful Tucson, the city itself is about 500,000 people. It's rounding up, 500,000 people. And then the greater area, what they call the well, we don't care what they say, what it's called. The greater area is closer to 900,000, or really a million, close to 200 million. So in that way, if you look at just the city itself, it's the 32nd largest city in the United States, and if you look at the greater area, it's the 52nd largest metropolitan area in the country. So it's interesting. It's the second largest city in the state, but at one point it was bigger than Phoenix. If you remember, I don't know if we covered it, so let's cover it now. So during the early part of the area, when it was becoming a state, when it was a teenager before it became, let's say it that way, during its teenage years, before and just after it was a state, Tucson was the biggest city in the area. Now, Phoenix was the seat of the state government starting in 1889, but Tucson was the place, man. If you wanted to meet babes, if you wanted to meet hunky guys, you didn't go to the dance clubs of Phoenix. You went to the dance clubs and discos of Tucson. Now, we're talking in the 1880s, so they didn't really have a staying alive type of vibe. It was more like a boot scooting, achy breaky dance vibe. The city got their airport really early on. They got an airport really early on, and that helped. That really helped build the city. But nonetheless, between 1910 and 1920, Phoenix started to get bigger than its little brother. It's like a horse race. Here they come around the final turn, and it's Phoenix. Phoenix making a move. Phoenix with his leg. Most of this race is coming up on the outside. Phoenix surging ahead of Tucson as they come into the final stretch. It's Phoenix stretching and making this distance even larger. Tucson falling behind. Here comes Phoenix across the line, and the winner is Phoenix. Phoenix outpaced Tucson, and suddenly Phoenix was the king of the hill, and that's the way it is today. That is the way it is today. But Tucson's still a player, man. Tucson ain't no slouch. They got 1 million people down here. If there was a Phoenix-Tucson battle, Tucson would do pretty well, I think. And you get so much, the thing about Phoenix is there's so much plastic surgery in Phoenix that if there was some kind of battle out in the desert, most of that plastic surgery would melt from the desert sun without any air conditioning somewhere in the desert sands between Tucson and Phoenix. And therefore the Phoenix fighting forces would melt from their plastic surgery, and the Tucsons would rout them in, I'm going to say, under a month. So, all right, so we got all that. Now, this is interesting. The city has a river, but it doesn't usually have water. Let me say that again. It has the Santa Cruz River. We're talking Tucson now. It is built on the Santa Cruz River, but for most of the time, there's no water. I've had relationships like this. Strong relationships, except a shortage of affection and love. But other than that, very strong. A very strong friendship under the guise of a relationship. So, hey folks, some of them just make me laugh more than they should. Okay? And that was one of them. So the reason, of course, is that it's a desert. It's not a flowing, it's a desert. They don't need water every day. We can get water. We can get bottled water coming in from El Paso. So the Santa Cruz River is a dry riverbed most of the time, but during the seasonal rains, man, it'll flood. You'd be looking out those Canadians would be looking out their window like, Martha, what the hell is that water? And Martha would say, that's the seasonal floods, Jimmy, seasonal floods. So the freeway that runs through the area connecting it to Phoenix is Interstate 10. And then on the other side, if you're going south, I-19 runs south towards Nogales, and the Mexican border. Again, if you're on the run from the American Popo, that's the highway you'll probably take before you'll have to get out of your car and swim for it. And it's interesting, on I-19 they have both mileage in miles on the signs, they have mileage in signs, and kilometers listed as well. And that is mainly, so in other words, the speed limits are marked both in miles per hour and kilometers per hour. That's partly for the Canadians. Canadians don't mess around with miles per hour. Most of the world, if you don't know, most of the world doesn't work in miles per hour. They have kilometers. So those Canadians come down, and if you have miles per hour, they're looking at that sign like, what the hell? And if they get pulled over, they're like, officer, I have no idea what you're talking about. What the heck dang is a mile? I'm from Toronto. I'm from Montreal. I'm from Winnipeg, Ottawa. Okay, from Saskatoon. Officer, I'm from Saskatoon. I have no idea what a mile is. How can you charge me? How can you pull me over on I-19 as I head to the border just to rinse out my handkerchief, which I had to blow my nose because a bluebird flew into my car, and officer, I'm allergic to them. We don't have them up in Saskatoon. And the officer would be like, ma'am, you're in America. You're in America. And in America, we have miles per hour. Now, you must obey our laws, even though you're very polite as a Canadian. I'm telling you now, I'm giving you a warning. I mean, you wouldn't want me to come up to Saskatoon and go, oh, I don't know what a kilometer is. I can't even spell it. Well, no, I wouldn't want that. Well, then, ma'am, we'll see. Well, you're in my house now, ma'am. And because there was so many Canadians getting confused about this, they put the kilometers per hour on the signs. But there's a lot of pushback from that because a lot of people in Tucson said, hey, we start putting the kilometers per hour on the signs for these Canadians. They're going to push. They're going to push for stuff they have up in Canada. Like Canada, a lot of people don't know, is bilingual. You try bringing that up in the city council there in Tucson. Yes, I would like to propose, we already have kilometers per hour on the signs. And this is to accommodate our Canadian friends. And of course, we want their Canadian dollars. Along those lines, I suggest that we make all of our signs bilingual, meaning English and French. Canada? Canada? I almost said Canada. Canada is a bilingual country, and in order to keep things super friendly for them, they're such nice people, I'd like to propose we make all signs in English and French. And the city council going, boy, what the hell are you talking about? Are you saying what I think you're saying? That we're 69 miles from the Mexican border and you're talking about making the signs in Tucson, English and French? I mean, I think you lost your dang mind. And that was a live audio. That was live audio from a recent city council meeting in Tucson. So there you go. That is the geography of Tucson. And wow, what a great time. I mean, seriously, if you go by there, you'll say, wow, this is a really clean, nice small town. I mean, really, Tucson is something, it's got a lot of appeal. Now, it's the desert. I mean, you have to like that dry, and be honest with you, it's small. and it's fairly far from Phoenix. So don't go down there if you're expecting to be, clubbing every night. Now, you can. There's a few dance clubs, right? But the thing is, they're only open on Wednesdays and Fridays, because the other nights, the Canadians don't like being out that late. So I'm just saying, we'll get into that. We'll get into all the nightlife and all the things going on. But this whole video is the geography of the area. Now, of course, if you're new to the channel, if you're new to these videos, I make up all this stuff off the top of my head. So that is the reason you shouldn't use this in your senior thesis, your school paper, your master's thesis, or any report that you're doing on Tucson, because A, you'll get fired from your job, or B, you'll get kicked out of school, whatever that applies to you. Guys, that's it. That's Tucson geography. Come on back. We've got so many more videos where I just make up complete nonsense using facts about this great city. We're going to talk about the neighborhoods. We're going to talk about the nightlife, the economy. Okay, we're going to talk about the infrastructure, the media, the politics, the government, the sports, the culture, the arts. Oh, so much more. You got to come back.